As water temperatures warm up, what happens to the bass? Whew, they start feeling good. They have the need to feed. They've got to eat more. So that water temperature moves up, the activity moves a little bit. And that little fella right there, that red-eyed shad, any of your favorite lipless baits, one of my absolute favorite ways to fish. You don't have to have vegetation to be effective with a lipless crankbait. I like it when I've got some vegetation in the lake, but here in the Midwest, it's kind of hard to find lakes that have vegetation. Does that lake in Indianapolis, Geist, does it still have grass in it? It's gone in there? It's harder and harder to find vegetation as we move along. But this bait has a very tight wiggle to it. Very tight wiggle to it. It's got sound, there's the 2-tap, and there's this one, and all these different ones. But the key thing about this particular bait and a lipless bait in cold water is its fall. So I'm literally fishing this bait like a jig. I'm fishing it on rock banks, I'm fishing it on I'm fishing on pea gravel banks, so I'm not gonna get hung up too bad. You're not gonna get hung up with it much. So what I'm doing is I'm casting it out, I'm letting it go to the bottom. When this bait falls, most of your lipless baits, they fall like a rock straight down. This one doesn't. It's designed such that it falls in a horizontal fall, and it has a quiver to it. I call it the death quiver, because when they bite it, it's just like a jig bite. They bite it on the fall. And why do fish tend to feed that way? Why do we get so many fish to bite on the fall? Because it's going to them. That's a good one. Because when it hits the bottom, they don't have any hands to pick it up and eat it, do they? It's pretty simple. So their mouth is at an upward angle. They tend to feed up as much as possible. That's why with crankbaits, we tend to lose a few more fish. As a crankbait's bouncing along the bottom, that bass is coming down on top of that, and we don't get a good hook in them. So I found a way that with this lipless bait is how I learned it. This goes a long way back, and I have won thousands of dollars with this. And you're gonna laugh at me when I show it to you what you do. But we were at Seminole, and it was my first season on the top 100. Most of you young guys didn't even know there was a top 100 circuit. That's how long I've been around. And I'd had a good tournament. At that time, everybody fished 4 days. All 100 competitors fished 4 days. I'd had a real good tournament. I met my partner for the final day, and I said, hey, my name's Mark, what's yours? Oh, you're Bob, I can read there. I said, hey, Bob, it's good to see you. And Bob asked me, he says, well, what are we gonna do tomorrow? I said, we're gonna catch them, Bob. I guarantee you we're gonna catch them. He says, well, how are you doing in the tournament? I said, man, I'm catching them. I'm last. I was dead last. I'd caught 4 pounds of bass in 3 days. Now, arbitrarily, you think you could just drop the trolling motor and go down the bank slinging something and you'd catch more than 4 pounds of bass. But weights were low, the water was cold, and then when you move further south and you're dealing with Florida bass, they're big babies. They don't like cold weather. Northern bass will bite. We go to the local lake tomorrow and probably catch a bass or two. Florida fish don't like this. So at Seminole, you've got a lot of those Floridas in the lake. I said, Bob, you be sure and get you a chrome and blue. It was a rattle trap at that time, lipless bait. I got throwing on 15-pound line. If you don't have any, I got plenty. He says, okay. Bob was not happy because he'd drawn with the guy that was in last place. Bob was in pretty good shape. He's in about 20th place on the co-angler side. So run up to this area. It was a little drain. Big creek channel swung in here, and there was a little drain that tapered up, and that's how those fish were going to leave their wintertime area and slide up into that big sand flat that had a little bit of grass about that tall on it and spawn. At 48 degrees, they're not going to do that, but they're going to go up there and venture up there. The males are always going to move first, and the females will come in a little bit later during the day. So we get there, and this little drain was probably 150 yards long. And I'm fishing up through there, and I'm throwing my lipless bait. It hits the bottom. I'm ripping it up, letting it fall. Ripping it up, letting it fall. Fish all the way up there, and I turn the boat back, make a cast, and I missed one. When that happens, and you're on a big open flat, now we have GPS. But a lot of times you don't have time to reach down there and go doot doot and punch your Garmin unit and go put your waypoint out and get your goods together and make another cast. Triangulate something in front of you. A tree in the water, a boat dock, a buoy, whatever it is, and something behind it so you can get a line up and make that cast. So I make that cast, I reel it up, and I hop it. I reel it up and hop it. About the time, I said, there's a good one, Bob. I needed some help. That's a good fish. Fight the fish up, and it's a good one. It's a 4-pounder. Bob reaches in there and grabs it for me, and I'm unhooking it, and he's got it choked. I put it in the live well. Man, I'm just skipping. I'm just as happy. Hell, I've doubled my damn weight. One fish, I'm moving up in the world. Go down through there, about 20 yards, and I hop it up. I catch another 4-pounder. My partner, he throws over there, and he gets one hits it and misses it, cranks it about twice, and it comes off. Make the turn. Long story short, I go up and down this thing for about 4 hours. I leave with 24-14. 24-14. I catch a 5-pound average, and my guy catches one 12-incher. Same bait, same line, same area, and I can't. There's no way I can cut him off. We're throwing to a flat, coming to a little drain. So he's got just as good a shot as I did. I got 8 bites that day. He got 8. I caught every fish that bit. I missed the first fish, threw back, and probably caught that same fish. And he only catches 1. Why? What I had done with my bait.
It's Mike Iaconelli. This is Bass U TV.
Here's what's awesome about Bass U TV.
You get the top instructors.
You will learn things at Bass U that you will learn nowhere else.
We take the mystery and the myths out of bass fishing.
Real tools that help you catch more fish consistently.
At Bass U TV, shoes are optional.
And I like turtles.
And that's why you want to check out Bass U TV.
Join the Bass U family.
Welcome to Bass U TV.